In the headlines, the European Union is pushing its member states to cease dependence on Russian oil. The bloc unveils its so-called Freedom Package, a plan to end all Russian gas imports by 2028, a bid to cut Moscow's energy profits and boost renewables. Madagascar in power transition. The military appointed a new prime minister after ousting President Andry Rajoelina. The interim government promises a renewal amid political unrest and uncertainty. In Asia, air disaster shocks Hong Kong after a cargo plane overshot the runway and plunged into the sea, leaving 2 people dead. In South America, Brazilian President Lula da Silva warns that foreign interventions in the region could do more harm than good. Here at home, the Department of Public Works and Highways remains under scrutiny. A senator slams the agency, admits only building 22 classrooms out of its 1,700 target for 2025. Only 2 months left before the year ends. In Mindanao, SMNI Foundation Inc launches a 2-day mission to bring aid and hope to quake-hit communities in Davao. I'm Angel Pastor. Newsline World starts now. United States President Donald Trump says he doesn't believe Ukraine can win its war against Russia, though he insists the outcome remains uncertain. Find out more in this report from Joy Tabanao.
At the White House with Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese, U.S. President Donald Trump cast doubts, believing Ukraine won't prevail against Russia.
I never said they would win it. I said they could win. Anything can happen. You know, war is a very strange thing.
When questioned about reports of Russian strikes on the civilian areas, Trump claimed most of those killed were soldiers. He also estimated that between 5,000 to 7,000 servicemen from both sides die every week. Trump also reiterated comments he made earlier this month, suggesting Ukraine is likely to lose some of its territory to Russia as part of any eventual peace deal. Last week, the U.S. president said that Ukraine might still be able to regain the territories it lost to Russia, but has since suggested Kyiv may have to make concessions. Following a phone call with Russian President Vladimir Putin, Trump again insisted that Ukraine is likely to lose some of its property to Russia as part of any eventual peace deal. Since taking office, Trump has adopted a more open approach toward Moscow, holding direct talks with Putin and preparing for a possible follow-up meeting in Budapest, with Hungary's Prime Minister Viktor Orbán offering to host. Since assuming office, Trump has shifted U.S. policy toward direct engagement with Moscow. He met with Putin in Anchorage, Alaska earlier this year, and another summit is reportedly being arranged in Hungary.
All of the, I've settled 8 wars in 8 months. Not bad. I have 1 more to go. It's Russia-Ukraine, and I think we'll get there, but it's turned out to be nasty because you have 2 leaders that truly hate each other. You can't have it all, I think.
Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro defended what he called as the country's direct democracy, rejecting claims of dictatorship as he announced a new national consultation for community projects. Jane Codnita tells us more.
Speaking at the inauguration of the Self-Government and Community Projects Presentation Hall in Caracas, President Nicolas Maduro slammed critics abroad, saying foreign powers have long tried to discredit Venezuela's democratic system. He argued that the country's participatory model allows citizens to take part directly in decision-making through nationwide consultations.
Democracia directa. ¿No quieren democracia? Porque hay en el exterior la campañita de tantos años contra Chávez y contra mí, que es contra el pueblo. Es la campaña de que en Venezuela hay una dictadura, de que en Venezuela no hay democracia.
Maduro claimed that Venezuela's system represents full democracy, where citizens themselves choose which community projects will receive public funding. He then announced the country's fourth national consultation, a public vote set to take place on the 23rd of November in more than 5,000 communal circuits.
Convoco la cuarta consulta comunal, elecciones generales, el 23 de noviembre, domingo 23 de noviembre, todos los vecinos, todas las vecinas a votar, a elegir sus proyectos comunitarios de base.
The upcoming consultation is part of a series of 6 public votes that Maduro says embody Venezuela's popular power, a model he presents as a democratic alternative to traditional representative systems. Maduro maintains that these public votes prove that Venezuelans, not outside forces, are the true decision makers in the country's democratic process. This has been Jane Conita, your Global Citizen correspondent, reporting for Newsline World.
Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva warned that foreign interventions in Latin America and the Caribbean risk worsening instability as he reiterated his administration's commitment to maintaining regional peace and strengthening multilateral diplomacy. This report from Jomal Santos.
Speaking at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Brasilia on Monday, Lula said that Latin America and the Caribbean are facing growing polarization and instability, stressing that keeping the region a zone of peace is Brazil's top priority.
Na América Latina e Caribe também vivemos um momento de crescente polarização e instabilidade. Manter a região como zona de paz é nossa prioridade. Somos um continente livre de armas de destruição em massa, sem conflitos étnicos ou religiosos. Intervenções estrangeiras podem causar danos maiores do que o que se pretende evitar.
His remarks followed recent military operations by the United States in the Caribbean Sea near Venezuela, which Washington said targeted drug trafficking vessels. The attacks have left at least 29 people dead since September. Meanwhile, Lula also spoke about his upcoming visit to Asia, describing the region as a dynamic axis of the global economy and highlighting Brazil's growing trade relations with several Asian countries.
A Ásia, como todo, vem se consolidando como um eixo dinâmico da economia global. Com vários países desta região, já temos volume de comércio superior ao que possuímos com vários sócios tradicionais.
President Lula's comments underscored Brazil's renewed push for diplomacy and cooperation, not confrontation, in shaping global and regional affairs. Reporting for Newsline World, Jomal Santos, SMNI News.
In Yemen, thousands gathered in the capital Sana'a to pay their final respects to Houthi Chief of Staff Muhammad Abdul Karim al-Gamari, killed in an Israeli airstrike last week. Massive crowds filled Al-Shab Mosque for funeral prayers before a large procession moved through Sabine Square, a show of public mourning and defiance. The Houthis confirmed Al-Gamari's death Thursday, saying his son and several companions also died in the strike. The group has since appointed Yusuf Hassan al-Madani as his successor. Israel's military says the August 28 airstrike specifically targeted senior Houthi leaders, describing al-Gamari as a key figure in developing the group's military capabilities. The Houthis have recently intensified attacks on Israel-linked ships in the Red Sea and launched strikes toward Israeli cities as Israel continues hitting Houthi-controlled ports and airports in Yemen. A routine cargo landing in Hong Kong turned into a deadly disaster before dawn. The plane overshot the runway and crashed into the sea, leaving 2 airport workers dead and the wreckage scattered along the coast. Franco Baranda files this report.
In the still darkness of early Monday morning, a thunderous crash shattered the calm at Hong Kong International Airport. A Boeing 747 cargo jet arriving from Dubai skidded off the runway moments after landing, then plunged into the sea, breaking apart near the airport's northern seawall. The aircraft, operated by Turkey-based ACT Airlines under a wet lease with Emirates, struck a security patrol vehicle before coming to rest in shallow waters. The northern runway was immediately closed, though flight operations continued on the airport's two other runways. All 4 crew members on board survived and were taken to hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. But inside that patrol vehicle, a tragedy. Divers later recovered the bodies of 2 ground staff who were inside the patrol vehicle. A 30-year-old man was pronounced dead at the scene, while a 41-year-old colleague died shortly after being rushed to hospital. The aircraft was broken into 2, with large parts of the fuselage submerged. Emergency slides were deployed as Coast Guard and fire vessels surrounded the wreckage during the rescue. Officials said weather and runway conditions were normal at the time of landing. A full investigation is underway to determine what caused the crash. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Franco Baranda, SMNI News.
Up next, here at home, the Department of Public Works and Highways remains under scrutiny. A senator slams the agency admits only building 22 classrooms out of its 1,700 target for 2025. Only 2 months left before the year ends. More news when Newsline World returns.
How to receive God's favor. So, for us, in order to receive the favor of God, we must avoid a holier than thou attitude. Importante sa harap ng ating Panginoon na tayo ay may kababaan ng loob na wag nating tingnan at mapagmataas tayo sa ating mga sarili. Isaiah chapter 57 verse 15. For thus saith the high and lofty one that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place, with him also that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. Bilang mga anak ng Diyos na tunay, upang tayo ay kasihan ng kanyang pabor, kailangan tayo ay hindi lamang mapagpakumbaba, kundi tayo ay mapagpatawad. You want to seek the favor of God? Be forgiving in your heart, so that when you pray and lift up holy hands to heaven, the Lord of heaven will also forgive your trespasses. May pabor ka na sa Diyos pagka ikaw ay dumadalangin na pinatawad mo ang kasalanan ng iba. In order to receive the favor of God, we must be humble. We must be forgiving. And we should not judge. And then, if you want to have favor with God, you must love God and obey God's words at all times. Ang aklat na ito ng kautusan ay huwag mahihiwalay sa iyong bibig, kundi iyong pagbubulayan araw at gabi upang iyong masunod na gawin ang ayon sa lahat ng nakasulat dito, sapagkat kung magkagayoy, iyong pagiginhawain ang iyong lakad, at kung magkagayoy, magtatamo ka ng mabuting kawakasan. Magkakaroon ka ng pabor sa harap ng ating Panginoon. Mahalin ang kanyang mga banal na salita, ipamuhay ang kanyang banal na salita, sundin ang kanyang banal na salita, huwag hiwalay ang kanyang banal na salita sa ating bibig araw at gabi. Pagbubulayan natin yan araw at gabi. Bago kayo magtrabaho sa umaga, pagkagising ninyo, kumuha muna kayo ng mga salita ng Diyos, magbasa kayo, mag-devotional kayo, basahin ang salita ng Diyos, mahalin ang salita ng Diyos. Huwag ilagay ang Biblia at patungan ng anumang klaseng libro. Kailangan yan ay nasa ibabaw ng lahat ng libro.
Senator Bam Aquino expressed disappointment after the Department of Public Works and Highways or DPWH admitted that only 22 classrooms were completed this year out of the target 1,700. During the agency's budget hearing on Monday, Senator Aquino emphasized that if this sluggish pace continues, the shortage of classrooms could reach as many as 200,000 by the year 2028. At present, the nationwide classroom backlog is estimated at around 146,000. DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon meanwhile assured that his office will look into the causes of the delays and find ways to speed up construction. Nearly 2,000 positions are currently vacant at the Philippines Department of Public Works and Highways, according to Secretary Vince Dizon. He said his priority is to place long-time job order employees of the agency in permanent plantilla positions. Meanwhile, a new official has been appointed to replace resigned Undersecretary Ari Perez. Margot Gonzalez reports.
Hinihiling ko sa inyo,
DPWH Secretary Vince Dizon once again emphasized that work in the agency must not come to a halt despite the reforms being implemented to curb corruption, especially since many road repairs need to be carried out following recent calamities.
ngayon na po, meron naman po tayong disgrasya sa Bukidnon. No, napaka-importante po kaya ang naguho dahil na rin sa nangyayaring mga sauna. No, nagkaroon po ng mga bigat na landslides, sinasabi po nila dahil sa aftershock ng earthquake sa Davao, nakakalungkot po, meron dalawang mga kababayan natin na namatay dahil sa paghuho ng struktura niyo.
According to Dizon, among the reforms being implemented is the regularization of qualified employees. He said that the hardworking and honest workers should be promoted. The agency plans to fill the vacant plantilla positions with deserving employees. The Secretary will prioritize placing long-time job order employees in regular positions. He emphasized the importance of finding these positions to ensure the continuous operations of the DPWH.
Na merong halos 2,000 bakanting posisyon. 2,000. Marami po dito, Engineer 2 to Engineer 5, at ito po lahat ay plantilla positions. So kayo po lahat, I am asking you, mag-apply po kayo dito at kayo po ang uunahin natin. Siyempre, kailangan kwalipikado kayo para dito.
The Secretary also warned officials who are causing delays in the processing of salaries for job order employees.
Pagka meron pang nagreklamo sa akin na madidelay ang sweldo, may mga masisisante dito. Yun po ang sinabi ko sa DOTR at yun po ang sinasabi ko ngayon dito sa DPWH. Within 7 days, no, from cut-off, lahat po ng sweldo ay mababayaran. Walang labis, walang kulang.
Dizon also introduced DPWH Bureau of Designer Head Larry Esquivel as the new officer in charge, replacing resigned Undersecretary Ari Perez. Esquivel, 36, was part of the first batch of the DPWH Cadet Engineering Program in 2013 and will serve as the OIC of the Office of the Undersecretary for Convergence and Technical Services.
Alam ko, marami siyang ginaktawan, pasintabi na lang po sa mga ginaktawan niya, pero not only do I believe based on the recommendations of people I trust in the department and even Secretary Babe Singson himself, no? Dahil nga nagsimula to under him, no? Under the Cadet Engineering Program. But I also want to tell everyone, kung ikaw ay masipag, kung ikaw ay magaling, kung ikaw ay hardworking, at most importantly, kung ikaw ay honest, aangat ka sa departamentong ito.
Newsline clarified that the efforts to clean up the agency are not yet over, following the anomalies in the flood control projects. He also believes that there should be individuals from the DPWH who are ultimately imprisoned to serve as a warning to other employees not to follow in their footsteps. So far, around 20 officials and employees had been charged with the agency, including former Bulacan District Engineer Henry Alcantara.
Matatakot na sila. Yun ang unang-una. Ikalawa, yung reforma. Kailangan nating reformahin na yung mga opportunities na nagkaroon itong sila Alcantara et al. Na magnakaw, kailangan mahihirapan ang gawin yun ng kahit sino man sa loob ng departamento.
For God and Beloved Philippines, this has been Mario Gonzalez, SMNI News.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, officially opened the nationwide voter registration on Monday for the Barangay and Sangguniang Kabataan, or BSKE, elections scheduled on the end of November 2nd next year. The COMELEC aims to register around 1.4 million new voters from today until the 18th of May 2026. The voter registration kickoff was held at Rizal Park in Luneta under the Commission's Special Register Anywhere program.
Tumatanggap kami ng registration kahit na sila talaga ay marirehistro sa iba't ibang probinsya o iba't ibang parte ng ating bansa. Dito rin, later on, magkakaroon tayo ng registration anytime naman na kung saan kahit sa gabi, magpaparehistro tayo dyan sa may bandang airport. Meron din tayo sa ospital at saka sa ating pong mga call center areas natin. So, ginagawa natin ito at ito itatagal hanggang sa 18 ng Mayo.
The COMELEC also plans to conduct special register anywhere activities in highly urbanized cities as well as in remote areas such as Tawi-Tawi, Aurora, and Romblon. COMELEC Chairman Attorney George Garcia clarified, however, that residents of the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, or BARMM, are not yet included in the registration to avoid confusion with the upcoming parliamentary elections.
Bagamat kung kayo ay nasa dito, halimbawa, nandito kayo sa registration anywhere, pero kayo ay taga Bangsamoro, tatanggapin namin ang inyong application. Subalit ito po i-forward namin sa ating mga local COMELEC, pero hindi po muna nila ito aaksyonan. Sapagkat, siyempre po, suspended ang registration sa Bangsamoro. Inuulit ko po, suspended ang registration sa Bangsamoro. Wala pong registration na magaganap muna ngayon sapagkat naghihintay po tayo na magkaroon sila ng batas at ma-schedule na natin kung kailan yung halala na gagawin para po sa Bangsamoro parliamentary elections.
President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. officially launched the One RFID all-tollway system on radio frequency identification on Tuesday, aimed at making travel across Luzon expressways faster and more convenient for motorists. Here's Crezelin Catarong for more details.
Speaking at the launch event in Calamba City, Laguna on October 21 along the South Luzon Expressway, or SLEX, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. said the new system is part of the government's broader push to modernize toll collection and infrastructure. Under the new system, a single RFID sticker can now be used across all major tollways in Luzon, including Skyway, South Luzon Expressway, Star Tollway, Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway or TPLEX, Ninoy Aquino International Airport Expressway or NAIAX, Muntinlupa Cavite Expressway, North Luzon Expressway, NLEX Connector, Subic Clark Tarlac Expressway, Cavite Laguna Expressway, Manila Cavite Toll Expressway, and C5 South Link. Previously, motorists had to switch between two different RFID systems. AutoSweep for tollways operated by San Miguel Corporation and EasyTrip for those managed by Metro Pacific Tollways. This caused confusion and inconvenience, especially during payment and reloading.
Kapag dumaan ka ng Skyway o TPLEX, AutoSweep ang gagamitin mo. Kapag naman NLEX o EasyTex, EasyTrip naman. Ibig sabihin, dalawang card. Dalawang account, dalawang load pa sa bawat biyahe. Minsan pa, nalagyan mo ng load yung NLEX, kaso nalimutan mo yung TPLEX. Resulta, pipila ka sa bayaran.
Registration for the unified RFID system is free and voluntary, and motorists can sign up either online or in person. A group or fleet registration system is also in the works of launch in 2026.
Sa ngayon, inuna natin ang ating mga private commuter. Kaya isusunod na lang natin yung mga fleet accounts, which I am reliably informed comprises a very small minority of the total traffic that we are trying to ease. Iisang account na lang, iisang sticker na lang, iisang sistema, one RFID for all tollways.
President Marcos thanked the key players behind the integration, San Miguel Corporation and Metro Pacific Investment Corporation, for their cooperation and commitment to solving a long-standing public concern. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Cresceline Catarong, SMNI News.
When we come back, the European Union is pushing its member states to cease dependence on Russian oil. The bloc unveils its so-called Freedom Package, a plan to end all Russian gas imports by 2028 in a bid to cut off or to cut Moscow's energy profits and boost renewables. Madagascar in power transition. The military appointed a new prime minister after ousting President Andry Rajoelina. The interim government promises a renewal amid political unrest and uncertainty. In Mindanao, SMNI Foundation Inc launches a 2-day mission to bring aid and hope to quake-hit communities in Davao. Stay tuned for more news.
Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo na malayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod. Pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakaka-depress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Nawawalan ka na ng focus, nawawala ang motivation, hirap mag-isip ng malalim, parang lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop. Kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety at stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen, magbasa, makipagkwentuhan, magdasal, maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
Ano kayang gagawin ko? Ipamimigay ko yung konti para tumigil sila sa pag-iingay.
Pare, magnanakaw, namimigay ng pera.
Ito ang sayo.
Wow, ang bait ng magnanakaw.
Ito naman sayo.
Kuya, yung
eto
share ko. Sana
Huwag ka nang maingay. Eto pa. Tama na yan. Nakikipalato lang kayo eh. Huwag nang maingay. Diba? Konti lang pinamigay ko, mabait na ako. Tahimik na sila. Easy. Ngayon, pwede ko na tong suluhin.
Masaya ang mga tao, pero tama po ba ito? Di po ba ang nakikinabang sa magnanakaw ay kasabwat ng magnanakaw?
Ikaw, kinukonsenti mo ba ang legal na korupsyon?
In Brussels, a major energy shakeup for Europe. The European Union has unveiled a bold new regulation that will end all use of Russian gas by 2028, a move officials call both historic and symbolic. This report. European leaders say the plan, dubbed the Freedom Package, aims to cut off Moscow's energy profits while speeding up Europe's shift toward renewable and nuclear power.
As we have announced earlier, we have found common ground on the Repower EU proposal. I have called it the Freedom Package because it will effectively end the possibility for Russia to sell gas to EU energy consumers, meaning that we will stop sending our money to Russia.
Agard added the move is about more than politics. It's about energy independence and protecting Europe's future.
So when you say goodbye to something, and now we effectively say goodbye to Russian gas, we also have to embrace something new.
Still, not everyone's on board. Some member states, including Hungary and Slovakia, argue Russian gas remains a reliable and affordable supply.
That there are challenges with regards to security of supply and, of course, prices, but we're working very, very hard with member states to make sure that we not be any security of supply problems and that prices will not go up.
The regulation now heads to the European Parliament for a vote, a crucial step in what could become one of the EU's most defining energy policies yet. As the European Union moves closer to banning Russian oil and gas imports by 2028, Serbia and Hungary are standing their ground, warning that cutting off Moscow could destabilize the region's energy supply. Sara Santos has more on this.
During a visit to Budapest, Serbian President Alexander Vučić voiced concern over Europe's growing push to wean itself off Russian energy, saying the move could come at a steep cost for smaller economies like Serbia's.
Kako da izradimo naš produktovod ne radi više prema Rumuniji. Morate graditi novi gasni interkonektor. Sve to da izradite, da pravite reversible fazu prema Mađarskoj, da može da se vraća gas, a ne samo da ide u pravcu Mađarske. Da pravite interkonektor sa Severnom Makedonijom. I sve to kad napravimo, ne znamo odakle nam toliko gasa da nabavimo ako nije ruski. I kada sve to opet uradimo, postavlja se pitanja kako ćemo da nadoknadimo to što moramo platimo 30-40% višu cenu.
Vučić warned that rising energy prices could hurt the industry and drive investors away, adding that the continent is becoming increasingly divided over its stance toward Moscow.
Evropa podiže zavesu prema Ruskoj federaciji. Oni neće da imaju bilo koga iza te zavese ko bi mogao da bude neutralan. Oni neće da imaju nekoga ko ne želi da sprovodi njihovu politiku u potpunosti. Mi bismo želeli politiku mira.
Meanwhile, in Moscow, Hungarian Foreign Minister Peter Szijjártó reiterated his country's opposition to EU sanctions on Russian energy, speaking at the Russian Energy Week Forum.
I'm not the only one to be openly representing this position, because the Slovaks represent the same position, and yes, there are many who secretly, hiddenly, behind closed doors or on the corridors express support to our position, but for various reasons they cannot afford to represent that position openly.
Szijjártó said Hungary would continue buying oil and gas from Russia to safeguard its national interests, claiming that several EU nations privately share the same view. The European Union is expected to vote on a proposal this week that would end all Russian energy imports by 2028, part of its broader plan to reduce dependence on Moscow. Both Serbia and Hungary say their priority is energy security, not politics, even as the EU moves to tighten the curtain between Europe and Russia. Reporting, Sara Santos, SMNI News.
Madagascar is entering a turbulent new chapter after the military seized control. The country's interim leader has now appointed a new prime minister, pledging renewal for the country. This report from Paul Montebon.
Madagascar has a new prime minister appointed by the military. At the Lavoloha State Palace in Antananarivo, Madagascar's new interim leader, Colonel Michael Randrianirina, took center stage, naming businessman Herinchalama Rajao Narivelo as the country's next prime minister. Rajao Narivelo took his oath before shaking hands with senior officials as soldiers stood guard outside government buildings. The colonel said the appointment was made for the prime minister's experience and strong international ties, claiming the process followed constitutional procedure despite suspending the constitution just a day earlier. The announcement follows weeks of unrests, protests over corruption, unemployment, and soaring living costs that have rocked the capital and left at least 22 people dead and more than 100 injured, according to UN estimates. Madagascar's ousted President Andry Rajoelina, who fled abroad using a French plane, denounced the military takeover as unconstitutional. His whereabouts is still unknown. For God of my country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montebon, SMNI News.
For our showbiz news, two worlds collide in Saudi Arabia as South Korean superstar Lee Jung-jae and Bollywood legend Shah Rukh Khan shares a viral selfie while Brad Pitt takes the victory lap with his blockbuster F1 film, now the biggest sports movie of all time. Stella Marie tells us more.
Global icons Lee Jung-jae and Shah Rukh Khan meet during high-profile Joy Forum in Saudi Arabia, an event known for bringing together international powerhouses from the entertainment industry. In the selfie, Lee Jung-jae is seen beaming beside Shah Rukh Khan, who flashed his signature charming smile. He captioned the photo, "Honored to be with a respected icon," mentions the Bollywood star. Fans across platforms hailed the meeting as the crossover of the century. The unexpected pairing sparked excitement across global fan communities, especially among K-drama lovers and Bollywood followers. Many are now speculating whether this friendly encounter could evolve into a future collaboration. Aside from the two actors, the forum brought other actors, including Lee Byung-hun, Amir Khan, and basketball icon Shaquille O'Neal. Lee Jung-jae, best known for his Emmy-winning performance in Squid Game, has become a household name globally, while Shah Rukh Khan remains one of the most recognized and celebrated figures in world cinema. Their shared moment underlines the growing convergence of Asian entertainment on the global stage. Brad Pitt's thrilling portrayal of the high-speed world of Formula One racing has captured audiences worldwide and marked a major success for Apple Original Films. Directed by Joseph Kosinski and produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, F1 the movie stars Brad Pitt as Sonny Hayes, a former Formula One driver who returns to the sport to help a struggling team, APXGP. The film has been widely praised for its authentic and action-packed depiction of the sport, combining racing sequences and emotional storytelling. The movie's impressive gross of over $629 million makes it the highest-grossing sports film of all time and Brad Pitt's most commercially successful feature to date. Following its theatrical debut on 27th of June with over $55.6 million in North American theaters and over $140 million globally, the film will be available to stream globally on Apple TV starting this December 12. This is Stella Maris, your citizen correspondent, bringing you the latest showbuzz.
From gymnastics to cricket, Carlos Yulo shines through injury to reach the finals, while Sri Lanka keeps their World Cup dream alive with a dramatic last-over victory. More of this report from Carlo de la Peña.
25-year-old Olympian Carlos Yulo showed top form in the vault qualifiers, averaging 14.750 points with clean and powerful executions of his signature piked Dragulescu and handspring front 2.5 twist. He also impressed in the floor exercise, finishing second overall with 14.566 points, just behind British standout Jake Jarman, who topped the round with 14.70. Among those expected to challenge Yulo in the vault finals is Arur Davtyan of Armenia, the same gymnast he edged out for the gold medal at the Paris Olympics. Yulo was forced to limit his participation to only 2 events after sustaining a wrist injury 2 months before the world meet. But his performances in both disciplines reaffirm his status as one of the sport's elite. According to Gymnastics Association of the Philippines President Cynthia Carrion, Yulo's qualification in both the finals was exactly what the team aimed for, expressing confidence that the Filipino can repeat his golden double performance in Paris. Yulo will go for the floor gold on Friday and the vault crown on Saturday as he eyes another sweep on the world stage. Meanwhile, Bangladesh needed 9 runs from the final over chasing 203, but Sri Lanka captain Chamari Atapattu struck 3 wickets in the over, while Nilakshi De Silva added a run out to seal the win. The victory was Sri Lanka's first of the tournament after 3 defeats and 2 no results, moving them to 4 points, tied with India and New Zealand. Bangladesh, on the other hand, crashed to their 5th straight loss and are now eliminated from contention. Earlier, Hasini Pereira led Sri Lanka with a career-best 85 off 99 balls, guiding them to 202 all out, while Shorna Akhtar took 3 for 27 for Bangladesh. Despite an 82-run stand between Sharmin Akhtar and Nigar Sultana Jyoti, Bangladesh fell apart in the final moments. The result revived Sri Lanka's campaign and once again exposed Bangladesh's poor fielding, with multiple dropped catches proving costly. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Carlo de la Peña, bringing you the latest sports news.
A Halloween celebration like no other took over Mexico City as pugs in colorful costumes marched through the streets for Pugmania 2025, a cheerful parade that mixed fun, fashion, and a mission to help rescued animals. Daniela Paulite has the story.
Dozens of adorable pugs in spooky and creative costumes filled the streets of Mexico City on Sunday for Pugmania 2025, an annual parade that combines fun, family, and fundraising for animal welfare. Pugmania 2025 brought together dog lovers and their furry companions as they paraded through the main avenues of Mexico City, showcasing costumes inspired by horror movies, ghosts, and pop culture icons. Now in its 4th year, the event aims to raise funds and gather donations to support an animal shelter. Participants contributed both cash and in-kind donations, helping provide food and care for animals in need. Families and pug enthusiasts enjoyed the lively atmosphere, which also featured a costume contest for both pets and owners. Launched in 2022, Pugmania has grown into more than just a pet parade. With wagging tails and cheerful barks echoing through the streets, Pugmania 2025 once again proved that Halloween can be both heartwarming and meaningful. Reporting for Newsline World, Daniela Paulita, SMNI News.
are innocent, you're not afraid. Why? The Word of God says, there is no fear in love. He that feareth is not made perfect in love. But when you're innocent, all that you have is the love and compassion. People can do anything they want to do to you, but you remain unmoved. You remain to be penetrating. You remain, even in your silence, it goes deep into the heart to tell you about the silence of innocence, and the innocence of silence will penetrate deep into your heart. And when you do something like that against anyone who is innocent, your conscience will bother you until you die. When you do something to a good man, to an innocent man, and you know that he is good, and you know that his intention for humanity is only good, your conscience will not let you sleep. Your conscience will bother you. Your conscience will be your enemy while you live.
In the spiritual, you don't have to have a doll in order to become a witch. When you psychologically hurt someone, you are a witch. You know how a witch is hurt spiritually? A cold shoulder, mental abuse, physical abuse is witchcraft. Soul winners are not like that. Soul winners are winning souls through love, peace and joy, meekness, gentleness, goodness, kindness. Whether you are on the first, second, or third level of spiritual growth, we are all participating in the same body. We have a care for everyone in the body. Whether you are part of the feet, which is the lowest of all, whether you are in the hand, or whether what part you are, one to another, there is participation of love. That's why Jesus Christ said, love one another, that the world may know you are my disciples.
Let us discover the power of prayer. 30 minutes of kneeling down and praying to God all alone in your room, or when nobody is there, will make miracles in your life. It will help strengthen your spirit and your mind, and the Father will give you the comfort that you have been seeking for, that nobody can give.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth bring peace to humanity.
Ikaw ba ay namomroblema sa taas ng electric bill buwan-buwan? Huwag mag-alala, narito ang ilang paraan upang makatipid sa kuryente. Patayin ang mga ilaw at appliances kapag hindi ginagamit. Sa halip ay gumamit ng natural na liwanag upang makatipid sa kuryente. Tanggalin sa saksakan ang mga appliances kung hindi ginagamit. Iwasan ang paggamit ng maraming appliances ng sabay-sabay. Gumamit ng LED bulbs. Ito ay mas tipid sa kuryente kumpara sa mga incandescent at fluorescent bulbs. Regular na linisin ang mga appliances tulad ng electric fan, aircon vents at refrigerator. Magkaroon ng takdang araw sa isang linggo sa pamamalansya at paglalaba. Gumamit ng energy-efficient appliances. Tandaan, maging wais sa paggamit ng kuryente upang makatipid para mas gumaan ang buhay. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
We have breaking news. Japan has elected its first ever female prime minister, Sanae Takaichi, a breakthrough in Tokyo's male-dominated politics. She secured 237 votes in the lower house during a vote held on Tuesday after her Liberal Democratic Party struck a coalition deal with the Japan Innovation Party. The 64-year-old veteran lawmaker inherits a government under pressure, with her party having suffered a major electoral setback earlier this year. Takaichi steps into the role amid economic turbulence, demographic decline, and a shifting regional security landscape. Her agenda is expected to focus on strengthening Japan's defense posture, boosting fiscal stimulus, and restoring nuclear power plants. Despite her win, stability is far from assured. Her new coalition lacks a full majority in the lower house, setting the stage for a fragile start to her premiership. With history made in Tokyo today, all eyes are now on how Prime Minister Takaichi will navigate Japan's complex political terrain and whether this moment opens the door for broader change. The town of Manay in Davao Oriental served as the epicenter of the magnitude 7.4 earthquake that rocked several parts of Mindanao and the Visayas on October 10, 2025. Meanwhile, some residents remain displaced after their homes were destroyed by the powerful quake. The details from Paul Montebuan.
The magnitude 7.4 earthquake that struck on October 10 2025 sustained extensive damage to houses, buildings, and establishments, affecting many residents in Davao Oriental. According to reports, hundreds of houses were destroyed and hundreds more were damaged, while thousands of residents were affected. In total, around 71,000 families were affected, with several casualties and injuries also reported. As days passed, it still hasn't been easy for some residents to recover from the sad calamity. Just like Wilmar, whose 7 years of hard work to build a decent home were suddenly destroyed by a fury of nature.
Isa labang ang bahay na ito ni Mang Wilmar dito sa Barangay San Ignacio, Manay, Davao Oriental sa lubhang mga naapektuhan matapos ang pagtama ng magnitude 7.4 na lindol sa Davao Oriental. Dahil sa lakas ng impact ng lindol sa kanilang lugar, sa tahanan mismo nila Wilmar ay makikita na ilang peraso na lang ng mga semento ang naiwan sa kanilang dingding. Nag-iwan rin ng malalaking bitak sa loob ng kanilang tahanan. Kaya naman buong mag-anak ay mas pinili muna na pansamantalang iwan ang lugar na ito habang naghihintay ng mga oportunidad o mga pagkakakitaan para sa pagsisimula sa kanilang buhay.
Pag lindol, yung maliit ko na 2 years na bata, sabi ko, lindol, labas kayo. Paglabas namin dito talaga, sir, malakas na, tapos nakabitak-bitak na yan dyan, tapos na ano yan, nakababa na ba yung lupa. Tapos yung asawa ko nandito, yung mga anak ko dito. Siyempre, sir, natakot sa lakas ng 7.4.
Wala naman na ano sa pamilya niya?
Wala naman. Noon, wala na kayo kasi pinalabas ko man sila. Sabi ko labas. Nung makuan pa yung hindi pa malakas, paglakas na, nakalabas na talaga kami.
For Wilmar, there's nothing more he can do. He says he just has to accept everything because what matters most is that his family is alive. Now, after the tragedy that struck not only his family but also other homes and communities affected by the calamity, Wilmar has only one prayer.
Ang dasal ko sana kami itong walang nasaktan, ganyan ba? Walang nasaktan sa amin. Yan lang. Sa amin lang, sa mga anak ko at sa asawa ko walang nasaktan.
For now, Wilmar's family earns a living by selling fish, saving whatever they can as they slowly start to rebuild their lives.
Sa ngayon, sir, pakunti-kunti lang. Pag may isda, dyan sa labas, binta mo, kunti lang yung income, makaraos lang sa isang araw ba na income namin. Ganyan lang. Sa araw-araw, pag wala talaga.
Despite the devastation caused by the tragedy, the residents of Davao Oriental remain resilient and hopeful. In response, the SMNI Foundation will conduct a relief operation to provide assistance and support to families severely affected by the earthquake. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Paul Montemon, SMNI News.
Meanwhile, the SMNI Foundation Incorporated will be sending aid to the victims of the earthquake in Davao Oriental. Let's find out more on this in MJ Mondijar's report from Davao City.
This week, SMNI Foundation Incorporated will hold a 2-day relief drive for the victims of earthquake in Davao Oriental. This effort is made possible through the support of donors and sponsors who place great trust in SMNI FI to deliver aid to those affected by the disaster. Similar to the 3-day relief drive previously conducted for earthquake victims in Cebu, the primary needs of residents remain clean drinking water and food. Thus, each beneficiary will receive 1 sack of rice, a gallon of clean drinking water, and a pail filled with food and grocery supplies. These relief relief packages prepared by SMNI Foundation Inc. will be distributed during the 2-day relief drive in Davao Oriental, providing significant help to families in need, especially those staying in evacuation centers. Despite the challenges posed by the ongoing aftershocks, the spirit of community and solidarity continues to shine in Davao Oriental. Initiatives like the SMNI Foundation Inc.'s 2-day relief drive not only provide much-needed material assistance, but also send a powerful message of hope and resilience to affected families. As beneficiaries are going to receive their sacks of rice, gallons of clean water, and pails of food and grocery supplies, it is a reminder that even in the face of disaster, compassion and collective action can make a tangible difference. We continue support from donors, sponsors, and volunteers. Efforts like this pave the way for the region's recovery, helping residents rebuild their lives with renewed strength and optimism. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondihap, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the sun. It is also wise for leaders to consider ascribing the glory to whom power belongs, never to himself. Rulers are to be honored as men and never to be worshipped as a god. And for our Christmas countdown, it's only 65 days to go before Christmas. And that's all for this edition of Newsline World. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, I'm Angel Pastor. Thank you for watching and goodbye.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.